Hey guys, welcome to Blossom Space. Guess who just got their first video sponsor? It's me. Today's video is sponsored by Tenny Creativity. Tenny Creativity is based in Istanbul, Turkey. And yes, they sell a wide range of beautiful luxury and custom-made crocs. Yes, crocs. So if if you want beautiful luxury and custom-made crocs, look no further. Tenny Creativity gives you the best for offer for your money. So you can reach out to them via their Instagram page, which is Tenny_creativity. And yes, if you tell her you're from Blossom, you get 10% discounts. That sounds good, right? Why would everybody likes a whoop? So that's it. Tenny Creativity does magic with Crocs, and I'm sure you'll love it. And yes, they deliver to everywhere in the whole world. Your location is not a barrier. They got you covered, and that's it. So back to today's episode of Story Time. Today's episode is going to be about what happened to me almost 2 decades ago while I was trying to write my junior West Africa exam certificate. For people in Nigeria, they are more familiar with it. I'm sure they've changed the name now, but when I wrote it, we used to call it Junior WAEC. So at that time, I had to stay with somebody for that period of exam. Like prior to the exam, I had to stay with a family friend or so. That's just that best describes her, or like a family friend. So I had to stay with them prior to the exam period, during and after the exam period. And to my amazement, this is somebody that was nice to the family, good to the family. Like she was just a perfect person that I could stay with for that period. And to to my surprise, a whole lot of things happened until now. I really can't forget. So I just thought to share it with you guys. And yes, while I was leaving home, I was given, like, there's this everybody knows that Nigerian electricity is another thing. So I was given this rechargeable lamp, so to say. And for those of you that you are not familiar with rechargeable lamp is like a lamp you have to charge for you to use later in future. So I would charge this rechargeable lamp so I could use it to read later at night. And before I knew it, I said, okay, background story. This person I was staying with just had a son, I think 5 months. So as at that time, the boy was up to 1 year. I think it was around maybe 6 or 8 months or thereabout. I can't remember very well. And this same person I was staying with had a younger brother, which was an adult as at that time. So they were staying in a 2-bedroom apartment or so. I can't remember very well. So, and before I knew it, when she took me into her house, she told me, "Whoa, you're welcome. This is your house. You don't have to miss daddy and mommy. Just tell me anything you need." And I felt very, very welcome. But as days goes by, the very first shocker I got was that she told me to keep my stuffs in the living room. That okay, one room was for her brother and the other room was for her. So she told me to keep my stuffs in the living room. And while having my bath, like after having my bath, I was supposed to change and just like get dressed. So before I knew it, I didn't know how to ask her if it was okay for me to use her room or not. So what I'll just do is stay behind the living room's door, change my dress, change my clothes to whatever clothes I wanted to wear at that time. I wasn't too comfortable with it, but this is me that I could not really talk to her about it. So I was just doing it like it's not my house. So I just told myself, girl, you have to endure this, and it's just for a particular period of time. It's not like you'll be staying here forever. So not until one fateful day, the person like that my mom knew her through, which was the woman's elder brothers at that time, came to visit us. And I was just coming out from the bathroom, and the man saw me that I was trying to hide behind the living room's door to change. And this man was like the man called our younger sister and like, "Hey, what's going on? Is it that she cannot stay in the room, or why is she dressing up behind the door in the living room? This is somebody that has a room to herself in her house, and why are you letting her um change or dress up behind the living room's door? And that was how the elder brother instructed me immediately to take my things back, like into our room, and that okay, it's okay for me to share the room with her, that let alone that we are girls, and that she should have considered the fact that there was an adult, there was a guy in the house, that she shouldn't have exposed me to such thing. So that was the first shocker I got. So as days went by, like the normal things you would just do, everything kept going. There were lapses, there were things she would correct, in which were very, very good for me. But I would just want to talk about some basic thing that was just off it. I think it was from her I learned to, in my home country, Nigeria, there's this local mortar that used to grind pepper. So, and if she had told me to grind pepper, it was a good thing enough. Like, why not? If not, she can train me. But then she had to ask me to grind beans because she wanted to make akara. For those of you that don't know it, it's a like bean cake or so, but it's called akara in Nigeria. So she had me to use my hand to grind it, and it was raining. So she actually told me that it's okay that uh, some of my mates are outside, they're bathing in the rain, so it's not a big deal for me to be grinding bean inside the rain. So as I was grinding the bean, I think I felt the thunder strike and I felt a shock. So the moment I shook myself, and she was telling me that why was I shaking myself, I said I felt a shock. She was like, it's a lie, that means I was possessed, that everything I was saying was not true. I'm like, I felt so bad. Eventually I didn't even eat the food because I had lost the vibe to even eat the food already. So those ones went by. Another thing I was going to talk about is that the fact that I was now using her room, so I was helping her with the kids and with our son as at that time. Before I knew it, she would just call me occasionally and tell me that her baby food was decreasing, that ever since I started staying in the room, like before, the baby food would last long for about 2 weeks, but ever since I started staying in the room, the baby food reduced to like a week or so. That was, do I steal from the baby's food? I'm like, for crying out loud, this is a baby's food. As at that time I was a teenager, I'm like, what would I? But I could not really confront her. I was just crying, and I just said, I didn't eat your baby's food, and she scolded me, and that one went away. My rechargeable lamp, she would, by the time in the evening, she would have used the, and you know that in like anywhere you have to bathe the baby in the morning and in the evening. So in the evening they would have used the rechargeable lamp. I had stressed myself to charge from morning. They would have used it to bath the baby. So in the night when I want to read, I'm sure the rechargeable lamp is low already, so I wouldn't be able to make good use of it. Like, there's just a whole lot of instances like that about this whole thing. But then the funny thing about the whole thing was that even after I had written my exams and I had finished my exam, this woman refused to reach out to my parents to come get me. And as at that time there was no phone. So I was only trusting God and praying that maybe I'll wake up one day and maybe I'll see my dad outside or my mom to come and pick me. And God heard my prayer. On a fateful Saturday morning, if I'm not mistaken, I just peeped outside and I saw my dad driving in. And alas, he said he just came to check up on me and this. And I'm like, hey, I'm done with my exam. Daddy, please let me just go with you. And immediately my dad just told her that it's okay for me to leave since I already finished my exam. She was like, oh, I was thinking she'll still want to spend some time with me and at least play with her brother, which was her son as at that time. So that was how my daddy took me back home and I went back to meet my family. It was the happiest day of my life. It was later on I was now gisting my mom. She was like, why didn't you reach out to us? Why didn't you tell us all of these things? Why you were going through that like those thoughts? I'm like, I just didn't want to stress you, and I already had it at the back of my mind that I was not going to be there forever. It was just for a period of time. So I felt like whatever thing I was going through, as long as it's not too much to bear, it would pass. And if you ask me what's my take home in this story, my take home is that whatever thing you do to people, either good or bad, it will linger in their memory for a very long time. Like I said earlier, this stuff happened over almost 2 decades ago, and I could still remember, like I can still remember very well. So I just want you to know that learn to treat people well. be nice to people as much as you can, and what you don't want people to do to you or do to your children in the future, don't do it to people. If you know you're not comfortable, I know human beings can be perfect, but if you know you're not comfortable with taking somebody in, let it, like, be blunt about it. There's nothing bad about it. I'm sorry, I won't be able to take your daughter into my house. I don't really like people staying in my house. But if you know you're willing to take that person into your house to stay with you for a period of time, be be nice. Like, just try your best and just be nice and be careful, because whatever thing you do, either good or bad, it will stay forever. And the good thing is that I'm always excited about it, that despite what I went through while staying with her and the process of writing my exam till now, my junior YX certificate is like the second best certificate I'm always proud of. And why? Because I had distinction in almost, like, not even almost, in all of the subjects, like about 10 subjects. So that's it. But before I go, I'd like to remind you that you should feel free to reach out to Tenny Creativity via their Instagram page, which is Tenny_creativity. And please send in your orders. They deliver anywhere in the world, and they do both wholesales and retail. So you don't have problems. So till some other time again, I remain your favorite girl, Blossom. Catch ya.